Hello, you're welcome to Gist Arena. All we do is and gist. We discuss topical, trending, and exciting topics, and we have fun while at it. We invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy each thrilling moment of and gist.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to season 3 of Gist Arena. Did you miss us? Well, we missed you. We hope you missed us too. I'm here with Ayatunde and Cynthia. And we missed you, but we had a bit of rest too. But we are happy to be back. Thank you. Today we're going to be talking about something that, I don't know, some people will say it doesn't matter. Some people will say, oh, please. But we really want to talk about it and rush it out. I have a feeling that without carrying out a real census, that 97% of us have actually experienced this thing. For me, it does get a bit on my nerves, but I like to hear from my co-discussants. So I'll just introduce the topic and they'll do justice to it. And maybe I'll just chip in a few ideas later, yeah. So it's about this thing of loans, but not just regular loans. You know, this new thing where people request for loans, I guess they probably they don't get enough collateral or whatever, or part of the requirements is, or part of the agreement is that if they default, they're going to send messages to their social media contacts, typically their phone contacts. And so me that I'm just sitting on my own, I remember the first time I got that kind of message. I got a message from some people that I'd never known. And they mentioned someone that I barely knew, that the person was owing them and that I should speak with the person, otherwise they're going to embarrass the person or something. You know, something really weird and funny. And in my mind, I was like, what's my own? Go ahead now. But, you know, and afterwards I started getting a bit more. So my real question is, what are your thoughts about that thing of loan companies sending messages to people that will say we're busy minding their own business to tell them that someone else who happens to be on their contact list is owing? Does it make sense to you? Do you think it's a good practice, or is it something that should be looked into more deeply? So Cynthia, Dr. Ayatunde, welcome back again to Gist Arena. I would like to hear from you. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, everyone. It's good to be back on Gist Arena, where all we do is gist. Thank you all for your constant support. Thank you for your feedback. And thank you for staying tuned. Now, Season 3 is here, and we're excited to bring this to our audience. And I'm sure we all have an exciting time ahead of us. Hi, Adenike. Hi, Cynthia. How are you doing? It's great to be here. Okay, so let's cut to the chase. My mom, received this message from these people. That was the first time I ever came across something like that. I think I received a similar message from them maybe weeks after, but at that time I had already known, what it was all about. So that time, when my mom received it, she just called me. I was like, come and see you and everything, because in fact the message they sent to her was that someone had listed her as a guarantor and that person, wasn't paying up. That person had defaulted in payment. And you know what it means now. If you're a guarantor, and there's any kind of default, they're coming after you, right? So she was really agitated, and we're just both wondering, how can someone even, list you as a guarantor without your knowledge and everything, and I started hearing reports, from other people that, there's this set of people, in town now, they give loans, and then if you default in payment, they will send messages to everyone on your contact list and all of that. And well, I don't know whether there's any kind of agreement, prior agreement between both parties, that, oh, if you default, we will send messages to people on your contact list and stuff like that. Maybe there's that agreement. I don't know. And honestly, I do not care. What's my business? Why are you sending me any message that somebody defaulted? What do you want me to do about that? What's my own? Why are you disturbing my peace? I mean, I don't understand the rationale behind it. You think I'm going to pick my phone and then call the person to say, hey, this and that? What's my own now? So I don't. I know that maybe they think if they shame the person by sending messages to everyone, they know that they are debtors or something like that. Maybe that will push the person to pay on time. But honestly, I don't think that tactic will work. I mean, you can't shame the shameless at the end of the day. So, but then I just don't see the reason why other people should be, disturbed unnecessarily. I think it's quite unnecessary. They should find better ways of getting the person to pay up rather than just sending messages to contacts. I mean, I don't want, what's that? So I don't support that idea. But then again, it is what it is. I mean, maybe that's how they feel they will be able to get the person to pay. And maybe it's working. We don't know. But then for me, it's just unnecessary disturbance.
Hi ladies, I'm doing very well, thank you. I trust you both are doing all right as well. I didn't get your statistics or your percentage. It's making me laugh. Where did you get 97% from? Anyways, I just ignore. Without further ado, to the main gist of the day. This is loan. I mean, I like to call them loan sharks because that's just what they are. I used to hear about them and the tactics, that they used to recover the debt or what the amount they're giving out. I just felt like, could this be real or something? Until about a month or so ago, I did get a message actually from one of them, and the person that they quoted there is someone I'd worked with in the past, I think 7 years or thereabouts. Like I couldn't even remember the person very well. I just knew when you remember the name. If you put the person in a lineup and you say, Cynthia, pick this person out, I can't even pick the person. When I got the text, I was like, wow, like for real, they're sending me this. And of course, it came with all the threatening stuff, like, if you don't send a message if you don't reach out to the person to let them know to call us back, we will come after you to collect the phone. And I'm like, hello, sir. Are you serious? Are you really, 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 really serious? In fact, as we're speaking, I'm trying to see if I can actually come up with the message. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Anyways, I just feel like this. I mean, there should be some sort of um rules against it. I understand that it is asking whether they signed something. I don't even if I don't think anything they even signed on this should be binding. How can you have access to people's contact details and then you are now trying to go after them? It's just wrong on all fronts. I don't even as in, on all fronts really is wrong. If when you were borrowing, if I signed and I was a guarantor for this person when he or she was collecting money, I understand that, but I was not even aware. You didn't send a message to me, when this person was actually sending, when this person was lending for, or when this person was collecting money from you. Is now that they've defaulted, they are now reaching out to me. I just feel like this is just wrong, no matter how we look at it. I mean, I can't find it. I can't find the message I was looking for. I was trying to look for it so I could read it out, but I can't find it. I mean, like I said, I don't even understand the planet on which that is even acceptable. Like, it's not, in any way, shape, or form.
Madam Cynthia, yeah, I pulled the statistics from the air. But one of the questions that I have really is, should the Well, we'll call them creditors, I guess, when it's the debtors, right? The creditor firms. Should they even have access to people's phone numbers? That's the people who are not their debtors, but their debtors' contacts. Should they be able to access the contacts of other people who are not in a contract with them or who don't have any business with them? So I'm looking at it more or less from the what they call it, from the legal angle. Really, should they even have access at all to our contact details to be harassing us? Because it's not like we're the ones that collected the loan and signed anything with them. I know, for example, if someone comes to me and asks me for, say, Cynthia or Dr. Yetunde's number, I said I'll be calling you Prof. Cynthia. Okay, someone asked me for Prof. Cynthia's number or Dr. Yetunde's number. I would first of all check with Prof. Cynthia or Dr. Yetunde if they want me to give ABC their number, so I'll get their consent, because your phone number is yours. I don't think it should be available to just anyone that wants to that just wants to take, as in, it shouldn't be something that people put up, particularly if I didn't put it out myself. And I'll digress a bit. So there's someone I was speaking with on LinkedIn. We're trying to discuss something, and I was actually going to ghost the person, honestly. But I don't know how the person was able to fish the number I gave LinkedIn, because I didn't ask LinkedIn to make it public. So I really don't know how he got the number. And he reached out to me, and he's been harassing me on WhatsApp, calling me at the oddest of times. And the number he's even calling me with is a number I use. I hotspot it. I use it for my meetings. So, it's not just me being elitist or egalitarian. Sometimes I don't want people to have my number because I don't want them to call me at the oddest of times. I've had cases where I'm having a meeting. We are all in a lot of online meetings these days. And I'm in a meeting. I'm trying to, maybe at some point, I was trying to sell something to someone. I was making a presentation to a prospective client. And it just happened that it was that time. It was that some random person who was a delivery guy I think he was even calling the wrong number. Or because finally we found out that he wasn't supposed to be calling me, because he was supposed to be going elsewhere. So he disrupted my presentation, and he kept calling persistently. And because there was someone else I was expecting to join the call, that's to join the presentation, I kept excusing myself to pick the call, making me look really unprofessional for things that don't even make any sense. So I'm just trying to bring up the point that the fact, as little as some people consider phone numbers to be, I think that it shouldn't be something that someone should be able to just pluck off the air and be able to have access to other people's data because someone else signed a contract with you. So that's where I'm coming from. What do you think about this point about them having access to the contact details of the people on someone else's list? Isn't there a breach of privacy for me that did not take a loan from them? Then I'll bring up another issue. I want both of you to address this too. The other issue I want to bring up is that, in the course, just while preparing for this recording and all of that, I came across a post by my friend Ifetu and someone that I follow on Facebook, and she had this post about loan companies. So that's one of the reasons why it kind of piqued my interest, considering the fact that we're going to be doing this recording. What she said was that she doesn't know who advised them that Nigeria is a good place for them to do business. So she says she doesn't support the shaming and naming and harassing people and all of that. However, let's talk again about the people that do take loans with no intention of paying back. We need to. So one of the things, as I said, there are people who took loans to get married. They are now grandparents and they have not repaid those loans, and they are confidently talking down on their creditors. In fact, it reminds me of one post that I had kind of shared. I think I got it on WhatsApp or something, and I shared it as a comment on a friend's post, and someone else took the comment, posted it on our wall, credited me, and it kind of went viral. But I'm not the original author. I picked it from WhatsApp, but it was a creditor that was telling a debtor that was telling the creditor that, please don't stress me. as you're asking me back for your money, because I have been, as in you're not the only one I'm owing. I have a schedule. So please, wait your turn. When it's time, I'll get to you. You know, that kind of level of arrogance, the confidence, that kind of thing. So I think that was why it went viral. And it kind of triggered a lot of pay back your basic posts and all of that. So another one, she said, she was like, some people will train their kids in different schools, but I think that's kind of taking us into the issue of debt anyway, which is one of the things we want to talk about. So some people, they actually carry their children. They will, for 1 or 2 sessions, they'll be in this school, they'll hold that school, then move on to another school, leave basic somewhere, move their children again, go on. So basically, they train their kids while owing different schools. And so she's like, the new one now is that people will collect loans, then they will take the creditors to small claims courts for disturbing them to pay back. So she's like, even the loan that the federal government is giving, she's wondering how they will collect it back from the people who do not really have any intentions of paying, and they see it as their part of the national cake. Like if they are owing private companies, who is federal government that they cannot owe? As in with the mind that it's part of the, what they call their own part of the national cake. So really, as we are talking about people, the issue of people having access to our phone contacts, as loan companies having access to our contact details, we are not in contracts with them. I'd like you to also address the issue of people that take loans with no intention of paying, and they put, so for me, I think they are the people that are the worst culprits in both cases. You've gone to take a loan without planning to pay, and you've gone ahead to give a loan company the consent, which you don't have, for them to be able to come and harass me that I don't have any contracts with them. So I'd like us to address both issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Adenike, for those questions. Interestingly, as Cynthia was making a comment, I quickly looked up these fintech companies and I came across a story. This happened to a guy in Kenya. So he said he had taken the first loan, he was able to pay back. He took the second loan, he was able to pay back. But you know, this thing is like a vortex. So it eventually drew him in. He took the third loan, and that was when Kasala happened. He couldn't pay back. So this series of threatening messages came, and in one of those messages they told him that if he didn't pay up, they were going to invade his privacy by sending messages to his family, friends, practically everyone on his contact list, and that it's according to, you know, section so blah blah of the agreement, you know, that is signed. So apparently these people that, you know, take this type of loan seem to agree to certain terms and conditions, okay? And whether consciously or unconsciously, they kind of like give permission to their creditors to harass people on their contact list. And if you look at it in one way, it's binding, right? Because it's an agreement. But then on the flip side, it shouldn't be binding. And it can't be binding, you know, like Cynthia was saying, because it seems also like these creditors go through back channels to obtain information, you know, the information that they use against their debtors. That's the information, you know, about the details of people on their contact list. I mean, how actually are they able to access, you know, that type of information? Is it that they collaborate with service providers, or is it that they have some kind of spy software or something? So it seems to me to like they are culprits, you know, these creditors are culprits because they are not obtaining the information, you know, using legal or appropriate means. And so they should also be prosecuted, okay? They're also culprits. They should be prosecuted. They can't even, you know, they can't hold their heads high to say, we have a legal, you know, a legally binding document or agreement or something, because hey, how did you access the information that you're using to kind of like punish or, you know, force your debtors, you know, to pay up or to hold up their own end of the agreement. Okay, so yeah, I think it's wrong on the part of creditors, like I've mentioned earlier, and the fact that they are, invading people's privacies, using, of course, not, I mean, using inappropriate channels, because that's what I think. I'm trying to figure out how are they able to get this information, and I think they use inappropriate channels or means to get that done. So that also makes them liable. All right. Having said that, now the issue of people, taking loans and having no intention of paying back. Of course, that's wrong on all levels. And I think that if anyone actually does that, like you knowingly collect loans and you know in your heart of hearts that you don't have the intention of paying back that loan, you are pure evil. I mean, that's just an evil thing to do. So while there may be people like that, I want to think or believe that majority, don't have that intention of not paying back. It's just that what I think happens in most cases is that they don't make, repayment a priority. Yes, I would say that. Of course, I know that in certain situations, circumstances beyond control, may make repayment impossible at a particular moment or at the agreed time. Okay, but I also think that some people, okay, if not many, don't have repayment as priority. They don't make it a priority, because I think if they make it a priority, they will do everything they can do, to get the money back to where it came from. But it seems like they just have this mindset that, oh well, I'll pay it when it's convenient. And I think that's wrong. It shouldn't be at your convenience, because when you were asking, for that money, either as a loan or whatever, you weren't waiting for it to be convenient, for the person that was going to loan you the money or the people that were going to loan you the money. You weren't waiting for their own convenience. You wanted it now and then. And you went through the process, you got that money. So now thinking that you will pay it when it's convenient for you, I think it's a wrong mindset. And beyond taking loans, because I think it also spills to personal relationships where you probably need a friend, a family, a loved one or something to lend you some money, because I think it's the same approach. And, people just have that mindset that, okay, I'll pay when it's convenient for me. I personally find it a little bit offensive. Of course, like I mentioned, things happen that may not, make the money forthcoming at the agreed time. But someone who has the intention to pay, or who sees it as a priority, will reach out and say, oh, please, can you give me some more time and all of that? Not that you just throw your face away, you carry face and you're like, when it's convenient. I'm always like, I think it's Alex Ekubo that said that it's with the same energy that you collect money, from people. That's the same energy that you should use in repaying that money. And I completely agree with him. I think it's just totally wrong to feel like, okay, I'll pay it whenever, I can. I'll pay it when it's convenient for me. No, it shouldn't be like that. And if for any reason the money is not forthcoming, reach out and ask for, some more time. I'm sure I've probably mentioned it at one time or the other on this show. Don't wait for that person to be the one to come and start asking how far now. You be the one to reach out. Okay. And then, that stuff about people collecting loan or taking loans to service liabilities. I mean, come on, taking loans to get married. Really? Really, you can't just go to the registry, spend few nairas, and you are married. So you can't do that. You have to go and collect loan. Abba now. Abba.
Professor Cynthia Ke. No. Anyways, so to your question about whether they should have access to third-party mobile numbers, I mean, I'm definitely on the same fence as Ayotunde has communicated. It is more of ethics, and I mean it's very wrong. I understand that they might have the person that was trying to borrow money might have signed what's it called, might have entered into an agreement at the point of collection and stuff like that. But such an agreement is non-binding when there's a third party involved, in the deal, because you literally cannot enter into an agreement on behalf of somebody else when you don't have a power of attorney, and they certainly don't have power of attorneys for every single contact that they have. Now, the very technology that even allows such a thing to happen is I think it's definitely a flaw and should not even have been allowed to even exist in the first instance. And it's so rampant, like it happens everywhere. Yet, every now and then we hear of governments or ethics committee saying, oh, they are clamping down on certain lending organizations that are doing that kind of thing, and then we hear a couple of them being shut down or being fined or stuff like that. But then it doesn't negate the fact that there is literally, for every one that they clamp down, there's probably about 10 other people. 10 other organizations. So I wonder why they cannot clamp down on everybody at the same time, instead of doing it one after the other. We know that these people exist. In fact, lending organizations that exist, I'm sure there are more than 50. At least going by what we hear in the news every day, I'm sure there are more than 50. Even, if they are not, my statistics is as well from thin air. But they are about that number, if not more, because of the just the way that we hear about it. So of course, what is wrong, to be honest, on all fronts? I can't even see a scenario where what they do is right. Now, to the second bit where you asked about those that are lending with the intention of not returning it. Whilst delving into this, I'd like to still point back to the previous one and say this: the lending houses to have to come up with another way of recovering their debts from people that are not going to pay back, instead of doing what they do. And just off the top of my head now, I can think of collaterals. Don't I understand that the idea for this low hanging, most often than not, the monies that we're talking about, they're not really a lot of money. It's probably, it ranges from 5,000 to, in naira now, but 5,000 to maybe something like 50,000. Hardly I'd always more than that. So I think they should look into collateral system, thinking of appropriate collaterals for the amount of money they want to collect. For example, all these very low things, maybe collect their mobile phones, for those that have to collect their mobile phones as collateral, if they sell wares and stuff like that, collect some of their wares that are slightly above the price, above the cost of what they are seeking to borrow. I know that microfinance banks, I know a couple of microfinance banks that they collect collateral. Without collateral, I can't do anything. I remember that someone wanted to borrow, I think, about 500,000, and I know someone that works in microfinance bank, so I'd done an inquiry on her behalf, and she was told to bring have a vehicle to collect 500k, like when I related the message, person was like, but why now? And I understood from their point of view. If you're going to borrow 500k and you drop your vehicle, that is definitely worth more than that. It probably means you're going to return their money. And if you don't return their money, of course they're going to cash out very well on top of your head. So that also helps. It helps the person that is giving money. It also sort of jolts the person who's borrowing money to ensure that they are going to return their money. Now delving into what you've asked specifically, I think it's bad behavior to borrow money and not return the money that you've borrowed in time or within the time frame that you agreed with your lender. It's just bad behavior. Not only bring about lack of trust in you, it also brings about lack. I mean, it doesn't make the lender sort of interested in probably extending their business to other people, and it's just not fair. It's wrong. It's not good. And I mean, the more people do it, the more issues this continues to bring up for other people, because genuinely some people do need this money and they're probably going to return it. But when these lending houses and organizations are going through this, sooner or later, I mean, of course, like I was saying earlier, that we've heard about the government clamping down on them. Before you know it, you won't have these low-hanging fruits that are actually able to borrow people money anymore. So it's just bad behavior, to be honest. And if for some reason, just like Ayotunde has said, if you know that you're not going to be able to pay back at the agreed time with your lender, please reach out to them, him or her or them, and let them know. Okay, and do that before the time. So for example, if you have agreed on paying back tomorrow, and you know that by that tomorrow you are not going to be able to pay back, please don't wait till that tomorrow, and then, or maybe the next day, when the person does not hear from you, they're now chasing you. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong and doesn't speak well. If you're not going to be able to make them, as soon as you know, it could be days, weeks ahead, let them know. Look, I know this is the timeline, but can we restructure? I'm not going to be able to make this payment by this date, and I mean, I would be leaning on this person's post now that was saying, it was Alex Okubo that was saying that the same energy that you used to borrow. I mean, everyone's always meek and all of that when they want to borrow money, but when it comes to time for refunding, is stories on stories, stories upon stories. It's just wrong. It's not fair. Not only are you not only are you spoiling yourself, so to say colloquially, it's just that you are also blocking road for other people that genuinely need the money and they need that assistance. So I mean, for me, bottom line, I feel like lending houses should find more ethical measures to ensure that they're able to recover their debts from people, instead of going about this one that they do is publishing sending messages to all of their contacts. This is wrong, and I'm certain that there are other ways that they can do this.
Well, Cynthia, it's like you and I will start our thin air statistics company, eh? And I think Dr. Ayotunde will also be one of the board members, because she has joined us with this majority that she's saying. Thanks, ladies, for your interesting responses. So I think I agree that if the loan firms, particularly, they are culpable if they are using illegal means to access people's contact information. That's to get because there's a question: how do they get the contact information? That's the detail that makes them very culpable. So even whether they've signed a contract, even if the contract was legally binding, assuming it was, which it isn't, they probably are using illegal means to access the information. So it's not like the people that took the loan from them actually wrote out names of people, in which case you say, oh, it's all just on the person that wrote out your name. But obviously the loan firms are using some technology which is most likely illegal to access the information. And if by perchance they are getting the information from the telcos, I think also that we need to also call the telcos to question and ask them why they are giving out people's contact details. And just to respond to Cynthia's suggestion about collaterals and all, I think the reason why people take those loans, the catch or the the innovation in quotes is that you don't need collateral, because if I have the collateral, why should I go to the loan shark who is probably collecting more? So the general idea is that because you don't need collateral, you pay a higher interest rate on those loans than what you would have paid if you went somewhere where you had to put the collateral. So that's the allure of the loans. And then they're like, oh, if you cannot pay back, then this is, we would have to use. So they are loan sharks, long and short. And we know all over the world that loan sharks don't always use legal means to get their money back. So it's just that they've now tried to turn loan sharking into businesses. But for me, I'm like, well, whatever, if you decide to go and get yourself involved with a loan shark in whatever form, do what you want to do, but please don't involve me. That's the way I actually feel. But anyways, someone reached out to me during the week. I'm kind of moving on a bit, still on the same subject of loans and debts. And I like the way Dr. Ayotunde also introduced the issue of personal loans. That in this case, you haven't gone to a loan shark or a loan firm. You've gone as a person to your friend to come and beg for money. And because I'm going to tell this story because it kind of dovetails into what she said, which is that even when you borrow from others, please maintain the same energy you used when you were begging for the money. So someone has reached out to me now. He said he's owing one of those loan firms. Basically it was like that he's reaching out to only people he trusts. I could still pick a bit of arrogance in the way the message was sent, like, oh, you are one of the privileged people that I felt comfortable to ask for a loan. But, I just really wasn't in the mood, and I made sure that I did not give him all the money he was asking for, because my personal policy is that whatever I loan you is something I can leave for you if you don't pay back. So for me, that's just me personally, and that's me. This is now me going into the personal loan area. I would, Dr. Ayotunde and Cynthia, please feel free to also. I think we've talked about this before, if I remember, in one of the previous seasons. Well, just in case we haven't, somehow my memory is telling me that we have. In case we haven't, my personal principle is that whatever you cannot leave as dash or someone, don't loan them. So I'd like you all to share your thoughts on what people can do as well to protect themselves from people that borrow and don't pay back, and send all of those kinds of messages about wait your turn and all of that. So again, I think I'll try to answer my own question with a thought. What do you think about loan firms publishing the list of defaulters, people that default on the loans, on blogs and in newspapers, as in the energy they're using to disturb third parties? What if they go and pay people who actually love to publish those types of newses, in quotes? What do you think as a better way than harassing people that were not part of the contract? What do you think? Do you think it's a better way if they come up with the list? The way we AMCON sometimes will write the names of people that are owing people just to embarrass them in the pages of the newspaper. Do you think it would be more effective than harassing third parties? So I'll just love to hear from you on those.
No, it makes sense that you actually refer to them as loan sharks, because that's exactly what they are, loan sharks. And anyone that is going to leave the traditional financial institutions or friends or family or business partners to go borrow money from loan sharks should expect they're going to come at them in a shark kind of way. I mean, they're going to come at them with any means necessary. So you should also try to ensure that you are able to meet up with whatever date or time that you have given them to pay back. With any contract that you want to sign, you want to ensure that you've dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's. Check that you are well protected. So if you know that there's a potential, or there's just that you might not be able to pay back, I think it makes sense that you ask them ahead of time. Okay, what happens if by this time I don't pay back? I know that some people organizations might allow you to pay after the date you've promised. it's just that there might be some penalties that is attached to it. So you have to ensure that you understand it, and if they don't have, maybe don't borrow for them and find other avenues. Like, you cannot eat your cake and have it at the same time. Also with the person that you said, I mean that would apply to the person that you said, oh, I cannot pay back and they just keep harassing me. You should have asked this question beforehand. What happens if, I mean, I'm going to give an example. If this is a very weird example, but if you take public transport to work and you feel like having a car is going to make your situation better, after you buy the car, you have the car, you also have to think about it. What if this car that I bought, what if it breaks down? How do I get to work? You have to think about, okay, I'm going to revert to bus taking, or however means you get to work. So that's just exactly what I'm talking about. You need to be sure that you've covered all bases before you actually go and borrow money from these loan sharks, as you put it. Also, with the thing that you said about not giving more than you can, like not lending more than not lending more than you can afford to give away or dash or forget. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, because I feel like some things do happen where you actually do need such huge favor. What you can do, I mean, by all means, if that is how you want to play, fine. And also depends on the person. And I'll give an example. I don't know why I feel like with a couple of my friends, I have some sort of credibility. If I tell you that I want to borrow ₦1,000,000 from you, and I tell you that I'm going to return it in the next 2 months, I think some of my friends they know that they can actually go and sleep and know that Cynthia would not go past the day that she said she's going to return it. And even if she's going to go past, Cynthia would inform me well ahead of time and let me know. I think I've gotten to that level with some of some of the people I call friends. So I think you might also come across such people that you actually trust that this is going to happen. I mean, they're good. Their word is their word. Their yea is their yea, and their nay is their nay. So the idea of me not lending more than I can, not more than I can give away, for me might not necessarily play to all scenarios. That's some I think it has to do with the person that is actually asking. Like, there's some people that if they ask me, if I don't want to tell them an outright no, I can borrow them something that I can afford to let go. But some people will come and ask me for money, and I don't mind actually giving them exactly what they've asked for, because I know that they would definitely not mess me up, or not mess me up. Let me use the F word. I mean, the thing that you said about publishing the names, I mean, using the same energy that they use to go after third party, it makes absolute sense. Look, if they want to publish their names after they don't pay back or whatever, just ensure that you put it in your contract, or they are aware before they collect the money. Please, any means necessary, please go ahead. Whatever way you want to recover your debt, I absolutely don't have any problem with it. So it's up to them. In terms of what I think people can do what they can do to recover their loans, to be honest, it's just the way the market is. There's nothing that you can do. Unfortunately, you cannot forcibly go and steal from the person you've given money to, because they've not given you back at the time that they said. It's just the business. Loan recovery, debt recovery is quite messy. It comes with the territory. So you have to take it or leave it.
Cynthia, I actually think that some people who take loans from these loan sharks are aware of what's going to happen if they default in payments, because I don't think this is something new. I think this is something that has been happening for some time now, and people out there are aware that when you take loans from these people, they will come after you if you do not pay back as at when due. I mean, we heard about it. I'm sure we discussed this with some other people. I mean, it's an ongoing discussion on social media. And then, the word of mouth, if it happened to someone, the person would relay their experience to another person, and then word goes round. So I am sure that people are aware. Yet they still go ahead to take, these loans without making adequate preparation to pay back. And I think that that's where the problem really is, okay? Because people will always take loans for whatever reason. So that taking loans is not the issue. If I'm taking loans from them, it's probably not the issue. Just like Adenike said, the fact that they're not going to present any form of collateral is a catch. Okay, so it's, for some, it's just easier that way. And so they go for this type of loans. And that's okay. But then what is not okay is not making adequate preparation to pay back. So you have to have plan A, plan B, as many plans as possible, just like you said, you have to have something that you can fall back on, when it's time to pay. And if you know that that's not possible, maybe you should, again, just like you said, find another way, to go about getting the money that you need. Because if you agree that, you want to take this loan, and like I said, I think they do, sign some sort of agreement or something like that. So you just have to hold up your own end of the bargain. And if they come after you, don't play the victim, because you know what they would do. You know what's going to come, if you don't pay up. So I think that a lot of people, well, let me not say a lot of people, I just think that some people, probably approach these types of loans the same way they approach loans. Okay, let's use that in quote now, that they take from friends and family, because in that situation, they can bring in sentiments and all of that, even if they don't pay back on time, and nothing is going to happen to them, practically. And so they think that it's going to be the same way with these loan sharks. Else, why would you go and take such loan when you know what is going to happen, and not make adequate preparation to pay back as at when due? And then you now come and start saying they are after me, and then you play the victim. I actually think that people should also do better, with let their word be their bond, when doing these types of transactions. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of things happen, circumstances beyond control. But please, if you are going to loan shark, I beg, have 100 plans if possible. Just to avoid stories that touch. Okay, now let me address Adenike's questions. I'll start with whether I think this loan shark can publish the names of defaulters and all of that, just to embarrass them or shame them or what have you. Honestly, they can do whatever they want. Just don't, that bit of asking people, including or dragging family and friends into the matter that does not concern them. That's my own issue. Don't involve me. Do whatever you want to do, as long as the individuals are aware that this is what is going to happen if they don't pay up. Once they agree, so it is equation as balanced, so they can go ahead and do whatever they want to do. And then the other question about was it a question? Well, anyway, the policy thing. Well, I honestly think it's a very good policy, really, because even sometimes when you believe that this person, will not let you down, sometimes they come up with stories that touch. And it can really be devastating, because now this is probably a friend, family, and all of that you can not do anything about, so to speak. It can really be, it can really be devastating. I don't know what other word I want to use right now. And so that you also don't feel the brunt of it all. If you feel like, okay, I'll give you the amount that I know that, okay, if you don't pay back, I can let go easily. I think that's good though, because that way, your mind is made up. Your mind is that usually when you say, okay, I'm loaning you or I'm lending you this money, your mind is there that that money is coming back to you. You may even have plans, for that money, and then somehow the money does not surface or does not surface at the time when you need it and everything like that, and then you're not able to get your money back because you're trying to, preserve the relationship and everything. Honestly, it can really mess things up. Okay, so it's better if you know that you have put your you have already set your mind that, okay, this amount that I have lent the person, if it doesn't come back, I can let it go. That way you'll be at peace. There will be no yawa. Okay, but then I also understand what Cynthia was saying about having some people that have been, tried, that have been tested and trusted. Okay, if you have somebody like that, then you can go ahead and, and give your, or give the amount that they're asking for if you have it anyway, because that's another thing. I always say, like, if the money is not there, I'm not going to go and borrow money to lend somebody money. I won't do that. So if the money is there, but if it's not there, there's nothing I can do too. Okay, but then if the person is tried, and trusted, the person has done it once, twice, 3 times, that they came for money, you loaned them, and then they returned, as I went to, they're credible. Of course, now, why not? But in the other case, you have to just be careful. I think you have to protect your art one way or the other. So whichever way it goes, just do. This is my own policy. I don't believe in displeasing yourself to please another person, or distressing yourself to make another person feel good. I don't believe in that. So I won't do it if it would distress me. And I have no part in that.
Thanks for your fantastic contributions, Dr. Ayotunde and Professor Cynthia. It's been really, really fantastic. It's been, well, I don't want to be like those people that keep using the same word over and over again. It's been amazing having this conversation with you. I think we've kind of gone through the things I was thinking about to talk about. Obviously, there's still a few questions here and there that will be nice to hear from the audience what you think about these loans and debts matter. Just to say, just while we were recording, I came across this post about or the news about one of those loan firms getting themselves, because of their underhanded tactics and all that, the people that were owing them actually took them to court, and now they have to forfeit the loan, and they're still paying back because they did not go through the right channels, I think, from my understanding. So I think my own conclusion to loan firms is that loan firms, please use your do your due diligence and make sure that whatever methods you're using are not methods that are going to come back to bite you, because there's no point being penny wise and pound foolish, and you expose yourself to unnecessary lawsuits. There has to be a sensible way to run this business that is not going to put you, your investors' monies, and your clients and all in a bad place. There has to be a way that is not how do I say that doesn't embarrass everyone. I don't think that this way of going about harassing third parties that did not enter into a contract with you is the way to go in loan recovery. But well, I've been wrong before. But even then, I was just mistaken. So I'd like to hear from Dr. Yatunde and Cynthia, any last words? You have anything you would like to leave the audience with? Oh, I also forgot to say, please, if you are planning to take a loan, please have a plan to pay back. Maintain the same energy you used when it's not your part of the national cake. It is a loan. It's people's money that you're playing with. People have invested in this. Some people, well, I'm sure many of you think, oh, it's just ill-gotten wealth, so everyone is sharing the wealth around. But the thing is that when you spoil that ground, other people coming behind will not be able to take advantage of that benefit. And we do know that once in a while people do need loans because there's an emergency here or there. So thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Gist Arena. We hope you enjoyed the topic discussed. Please drop your comments and let us know what you think about it. We'll definitely love to hear from you. Until next time, bye!